If you're looking for a game that will hook you emotionally right at the beginning and get you to be rooting for the main character, Arizona Sunshine 2 did that for me. Well, at first it did it for me. Let's talk about it. Now, imagine yourself all alone in a zombie-infested world, no friends, no family, no human contact whatsoever, except those pesky zombies that just want to eat you. How long could you go before you started thinking of just ending it all? This game slaps you right in the face at the beginning with this very question, and we begin the story where this guy has pretty much reached his limit.
You know, Fred, last night, I finally worked up the courage to try and drink myself out of here. Permanently. But it didn't work. I still woke up. Still stuck with you. I got a gun. Maybe it's time I tried the direct approach, huh?
No, you don't want to do that, buddy. I'm here now. We'll take care of things.
Oh, sure, Fred. Walk away.
Oh, what's this? Okay, chopper. Blackhawk. I've flown on those before. Ooh, watch that there. That's a mountain. I've flown on a Blackhawk before.
Hey!
They're a lot of fun.
Hey! Over here! Hey! Down
But probably
here!
not when you're infested with zombies.
Freddy, fuck! Oh! I gotta get over there! I gotta get over there!
Thus, our main character is presented with a morsel of hope just as he's reaching his breaking point. The pursuit to reach the helicopter leads us to meeting what for this guy would be the first living being in some time that isn't trying to eat him. The dog, which he promptly names Buddy, and our main guy and Buddy begin the quest to find Patient Zero and ultimately meet up with other live humans. Throughout the story, we get to hear the inner thoughts and ramblings of a lonely guy, desperate for human connection, and maybe, probably, a tad insane at this point. We experience the emotional bond he develops with Buddy through things like playing fetch with the tennis ball and pushing Buddy around in the shopping cart, etc., etc. The story hooked me so thoroughly that when I streamed it, which you can find here, I had originally planned to do a 3 to 4 hour stream. And I ended up doing a 5+ hour stream because I just wanted to know what was going to come next. Sounds pretty great, right? Well, even with all the praise I just heaped on the game, there were 2 missteps they made that ultimately lead me to downrating that game. The first misstep, this game is so not a kid-friendly game unless you don't mind your kids exposed to rampant profanity, dirty jokes, sexual innuendos, and much, much more, not to mention the absolute blood and gore of the game. A heavy mature rating is what I would give this game. Now, this profanity-laden, dirty jokes telling, sexual innuendos approach also, I feel, went too far and actually detracted from the quality of the storytelling. Not enough to actually stop me from playing, but enough sometimes that I was like, that was highly inappropriate. Why would you put that there? They did not need to go so hard in this direction as they did, and if they hadn't, it wouldn't have hurt the overall story at all, and actually probably would have helped improve the overall story. But they did. So, the story suffered. Second, I also was unimpressed with how it ended. I feel there could have been several directions they could have gone with the ending that would have been miles better, and, without giving away spoilers, at approximately the halfway point in the game, I correctly predicted one of the key aspects to how it ended. One should absolutely never be able to predict the ending in a good story, and if one does, the writers have failed in their storytelling. These 2 missteps I've just explained, the profanity, etc., and the poor ending, is why I'm taking what would have been for me a 10 of 10 game and bumping it down to about a 6 or a 7 of 10. I really can't decide. Now, it's still a fun game to play, and I have every intention of replaying it on tougher settings, and of course there is the co-op mode, but it's unfortunate they started off with such a deep story narrative, and by the end, kind of destroyed it. Now, story aside, the game is a zombie shooter, so that means weapons. The developers do a great job in this category. Starting with the ammo, they have it broken into handgun ammo, for lack of a better word, because they have many subs linked into this category. Rifle ammo, again for lack of a better word, and shotgun ammo. They also have a fourth category that would be canisters for a flamethrower that you get in the game, and towards the end of the game, they also introduce you to a grenade launcher, so ammo for that. This is a very simplistic approach since they don't actually break the ammo into the types of ammo for various guns, and yet for this game, it was a good move. If you're looking for a way that you can have random ammo drops for the player to find scattered throughout the world without it getting in the way of advancing the storyline, this is a good way to go about it. Imagine the player has a Glock holding 9mm rounds, but all the player can find is 45 ACP. See what I mean? The weapons themselves were done extremely well. They all have iron sights, and I never found any optics or red dots for the guns, so I guess they don't have those, but the iron sights work in a very realistic way. Not lining up those sights properly? Guess you won't hit anything. Reloading also was well done. The magazine will flash orange or reddish color when it's empty. You press the button on the right controller to drop the empty mag. You grab a fresh one from your gear, insert it, rack that slide, and you're ready to rock and roll. The 6-shooter style gun reloads I found to be even more fulfilling, and ultimately this was the gun that was my favorite. Again, you press that right controller button to open the cylinder, hold the gun pointed up so the empty shell casings can fall out, then grab a fresh one, insert it, and flick your wrist to close the cylinder, and again, ready to rock. I mentioned the flamethrower as something in the game, and it's overall a cool weapon. I would advise though, don't spray and pray with it. The canisters will not last long if you do. What you want to do is targeted bursts to catch one or two on fire and then lit up, because the flames will spread to others if they are close enough, which also means they are most effective when targeting large groups of zombies. They did at the end introduce the grenade launcher, and that was fun, but it was only at the end and not a lot of options to use it. It would have been nice if they gave it to you sooner as a choice, as it would have been a lot of fun to use. Beyond the weapons and the flamethrower, you also will have explosives you can make with supplies you pick up throughout the game. There are crafting stations you come across, and at these crafting stations you can craft mines, which will detonate when the zombies stumble over them. You can craft frag grenades and sticky grenades, where you basically pull the pin and throw them and they explode. And you can craft my least favorite, Molotov cocktails. Molotov cocktails are my least favorite because you need a lighter to light them. You only have 2 places to store things, and that would be your wrists, so a max 2 things you can store. If you're planning to use a Molotov cocktail, you will need that lighter, and that will take up 1 storage slot, leaving you only 1 slot open for the Molotov cocktail storage. I personally prefer to carry 2 frag grenades or 2 sticky grenades. And finally, we have melee weapons you can use, ranging from meat cleavers to machetes and more. My only advice here is, the longer the reach of the weapon, the better it is to use. If you try to use a meat cleaver, you will have to get really close to the zombies to use it, which means you're getting close enough for them to attack you, which means you will take damage. Also, word of warning, your melee weapons will take damage as you use them and will eventually break, so keep that in mind and be prepared to pull your gun. It is fun though to hack and slash your way through a group of zombies with the machetes, so play around with those tools and see what works best for you. I mentioned taking damage from zombies, which brings me to how you heal yourself. First, your life is registered on your left wristwatch, and 100% is of course full health. You take damage and want to repair yourself, you will want to eat something, specifically hot dogs, hamburgers, and pizza. These were the only things I found that you can't eat, but they are generously spread throughout the game to pick up, so as far as storing one to use later, I never felt the need to. Granted, I was playing on adventure mode, and maybe the more challenging modes it will be necessary. Finally, let's talk about Buddy the dog. He's good for more than just playing catch or riding around in that shopping cart. There are specific things you will need him to do in order to advance the game, like pulling a corpse away from a door or fetching a key that's in a location you can't reach. You can also have him fetch other items such as ammo or supplies from places you can't reach yourself, and it took me a while to figure this last one out. I was seeing ammo and such in locations I couldn't get to, and I was like, oh hell, why can't I get to it? How do I get that thing? Until I realized, oh yeah, I have the dog get it. But he's also fantastic at ripping the zombies apart and will save your hide on many occasions. You can let him attack things randomly, or you can have him target specific things. The approach will vary depending on the situation. I've had moments where I was struggling to reload and I had Buddy target a zombie that was attacking me and my life was saved. I've had other times where I was so busy shooting things I forgot to ask the dog to do anything, and yet he was still attacking stuff. All in all, the dog adds a lot to the gameplay. In conclusion, I would say view this game as a very fun zombie shooter with a wide range of weapons one can use that each have their own mechanic that work very well, but with an ultimately lame story, which is unfortunate as this story narrative had the potential to be something else, but instead fell flat. Why does a zombie shooter need a storyline, you might ask? Well, because it keeps me emotionally invested in the game and the characters, and I will walk away from that game saying, wow, that was amazing. What other games did these people make? Instead, with this one, I enjoyed the challenge of killing the zombies, but towards the end of the game, I was really looking for a plot twist that would let me kill the dog, and I was absolutely starting to get annoyed with the character I was playing. But to the million-dollar question, should you buy it? And is it worth the money? That's a tough one to answer. I had fun playing it, and I imagine you would too, but it's priced at $50, and I didn't find this to be a $50 game. If you play the game start to finish at a moderate pace, you're looking at about a 6 to 7-ish hour game, and replayability is only a thing if you want to try to beat it at a tougher settings, or maybe if you want to play co-op with friends. There are other games priced the same that give you way more for your money, so it's a tough one to answer here, so I won't. What I will do is just lay out the information and let you decide if you want to drop the 50 bones on this title. As always, I want to hear from you. Have you played it? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below.